So hello everyone, in this example I'll show you how to set up the GCP BigQuery so that we can work on some database exercises in chapter 9. To start with, you should log into Google Cloud Platform and make sure you redeem the $50 coupon that I've sent out. So what you should do first is we need to create a new project. So right here I have a test chapter 9 set up, but I'm going to start a new project right here. And I'm just going to call it database examples. And I'm going to put a dash here and then hit the create button. So it's going to take a while for the project to be created. And once the project is created, I should be able to go into that project. And I'm going to click on this hamburger button here and scroll all the way down to try to find an item called BigQuery. It's right here. It's under the section Big Data. So I already have some data set here already, but I'm going to start fresh, a new data set. So over here, we should see under the resources, a pin item called database example dash with a number. So this is the resource that we can use in this project, but we do need to create a data set. So I'm going to start a button here and create a data set. I'm just going to add bike, and you can just leave all the other value in default, and then click on the create data set. So then you can actually click on this little triangle here and see the bike. So within the bike data set, then we can add in the table. And these tables can be imported directly through the CSV file. So I'm going to click on this bike here, and I'm going to say I want to add a table. And I don't want to add an empty table. Actually, I want to add a table with upload, assuming the table is on our local hard drive. I'm going to browse into that file. And over here, the table I want to add is called bikeshare underscore trip underscore data.csv. So I open the file, and unfortunately I realized the file is more than 10 megabytes. So we do need to use the Google Cloud Storage to store those files, to upload those files in the Google Cloud first, before it can be transported into the BigQuery. So I will click on this Google Cloud Storage, and here I want to create a bucket. Basically, this is storage bucket that will be associated to my project. So I'm going to create a bucket, and just example. Continue. Bucket name is taken, so I say example bike. Continue. Just keep the default multi-region location type and do a create. So once I have the bucket ready, let's refresh the bucket. So now I can upload file. So I'm going to upload a file, which is the same file I tried to upload into the BigQuery earlier. It's going to take a while. So now we have the CSV file uploaded into the Google Cloud Storage bucket. I'm going to close up this window and go back to BigQuery. And I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to create a table from Google Cloud Storage. And now I can browse into my cloud storage and find this file. And select, and then automatically it detects the file is in CSV format. That's good. And it actually has a project name here and the dataset name. And make sure you select external table here. And you give it a table name. I want to give the same table name as the one we used in our textbook. So I'm going to go back and double check the table name is actually called the trip data. So I'm going to use the same table name for our BigQuery table. I want to say auto detect schema and input parameters. And we don't really have to go into the advanced options. And right now we can just do create table. So you can see our table is now created. And down here, basically we can see the information about the table. We can see the schema. I need to move this up a little bit. You can see basically the schema of this database table. And we can look at the details. And now we can actually try to query into this table. I want to copy and paste from our Runestone book, this example. Select all rows from the trip data table, and I'm going to display the top 10 rows. So I'm going to go back here and then plug it in, and let's run it and see what happens. Well, we'll get an arrow here. It says table name trip data missing data set while no default data set is set in the request. So it looks like we cannot just directly copy and paste the code from the Runestone to here, because in the BigQuery you need to qualify the table name with the data set name as well as the project name. So let's try a different way. So let's click on this trip data, and there's a little option we have here called query table. So let's have a look. When I click query table, well, you can see immediately it gives you a template for query. It is written in one single line instead of the multiple lines format we had earlier. And it actually already gives you the table name. You can see it's qualified by the project name dot bike, refer to the bike data set, and then the trip data table. Okay, and of course it limits to 1,000, so I'm going to change this, and I'm going to select all. All right, so we get 10 records from the trip data table, and we can go back and run the query in the Runestone and just verify our answer is exactly the same. So start with the trip number is 0, duration is 3,548. We go back and have a look. That should be exactly the same. All right. So just one thing, make sure is you want to have all the table qualified by the project and the data set name to make it work. So when you copy and paste queries from our Runestone book example, you want to make sure and make that change. Okay, and this backquote is actually optional. So even if you remove the backquote, you should still be able to run it.